Hey everyone, my name is Josh, and welcome back to your fourth stimulus package and news update. In today's update, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 5 free stocks from Webull, valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you will find in the description box below. Okay, so if you sort of took the weekend off to get away from all this political nonsense taking place, what you would have missed was Joe Manchin declaring that he cannot vote for the Build Back Better plan. Reason being, the very real inflation that's been taking place. Here's Joe Manchin saying just that.
Well, Brett, this is a mammoth piece of legislation, and I had my reservations from the beginning when I heard about it 5.5 months ago, and I've been working diligently every day and every minute of every day. I've been working on this, meeting with whether it be the President Biden, whether it be Majority Leader Schumer and his staff, whether it would be with Nancy Pelosi, all of my colleagues, from all different spectrums of the political spectrum, if you will, from the right to the left. I've done everything humanly possible. And my concerns I had, and I still have these concerns, and where I'm at right now, the inflation that I was concerned about, it's not transitory, it's real, it's harming every West Virginian. It's making it almost difficult for them to continue to go to their jobs, the cost of gasoline, the cost of groceries, the cost of utility bills. All of these things are hitting in every aspect of their life. And you start looking at, then you have the debt that we're carrying at $29 trillion. You have also the geopolitical unrest that we have. You have the COVID variant, and that is wreaking havoc again. People are concerned. I've been with my family. I know everyone's concerned. So when you have these things coming at you the way they are right now, I've always said this, Brett, if I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no on this legislation. I have tried everything I know to do. And the President has worked diligently. He's been wonderful to work with. He knows I've had concerns and the problems I've had. And the thing that we should all be is directing our attention towards the variant, the COVID that we have coming back at us in so many different aspects in different ways. It's affecting our lives again. We have inflation that basically could really harm a lot of Americans, and especially those who are most needy and having a hard time struggling right now. So I think that's where our attention needs to be directed towards immediately. And this has been going on for 5.5 months.
So Manchin names a lot of different factors, but mainly inflation is the reason he can't be on board with the Build Back Better plan. Manchin says he can't go home to his people in the state of West Virginia and explain voting in favor of the overall package. Now, Manchin is also asked if he's alone in being skeptical about this bill. He's asked if any other Democrats in the Senate are against the bill. This is what he had to say.
I'm not going to speak for any of myself. I respect. They know they know the difficulties that I've been having with this. I've been very concerned about this. When I first got to the Senate, back in 2011, I was having a meeting on armed services, and at that time, Admiral Mike Mullen was the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I'll never forget. In this hearing, he was asked the question, "What's the greatest threat the United States of America faces?" And I'm thinking I'm going to hear something in basically with military threats we might have around the world. Without blinking an eye, he said the debt of our nation is the greatest threat. Now, the debt was $14 trillion then, Brett. It's $29 trillion now. Inflation is real. It's not going away anytime soon. We don't know when the end will come. There's a lot of people hurting right now. This COVID, we're fighting on a daily basis, and it's coming at different angles at us, if you will. These are serious things. There's a lot of good, but that bill is a mammoth piece of legislation, a mammoth piece. And when it's done even through regular order, it would be a tremendous, huge undertaking.
So to that question in particular, he doesn't really respond directly to it, but we all know another Democratic senator in Kyrsten Sinema is against the package. He does mention, though, that the debt of our nation could be the greatest threat. Not China, not Russia, not even terrorism. Our national debt is the greatest threat to our nation. Some progressive Democrats, such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, believe the Senate needs to hold a vote regardless to keep those who are against the package to be held accountable. This is what Manchin had to say on that in his message to the American people.
Here's the thing. When it's time, just vote. I've been saying that. Just vote. If that's what people need to show where they are, then vote. I've been trying to say it, and I don't know how many different ways I can say it. The frustration from my colleagues, friends of mine on both sides of the aisle, but my Democrat colleagues who are frustrated. This has been strung out for so long, 5.5 months. They're trying to make this adjustment, this adjustment. They're just trying to make the adjustment for the time to fit the money, or the money to fit the time. Not changing our approach, not targeting things we should be doing. Making sure that people, basically that truly need it, are getting it. Making sure that we can do things in a much better fashion. We have things that we can do in a bipartisan way, the way the Senate's supposed to work, if we'll just let it happen. Just go through the committees. Let's work it.
All right.
In response to Manchin's interview, saying he was against the Build Back Better bill, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki released a statement. Senator Manchin's comments this morning on Fox are at odds with his discussions this week with the president, with White House staff, with his own public utterances. Weeks ago, Senator Manchin committed to the president at his home in Wilmington to support the Build Back Better framework that the president then subsequently announced. Senator Manchin pledged repeatedly to negotiate on finalizing that framework in good faith. On Tuesday of this week, Senator Manchin came to the White House and submitted to the president in person directly a written outline for a Build Back Better bill that was the same size and scope as the president's framework and covered many of the same priorities. While that framework was missing key priorities, we believe that it could have led to a compromise acceptable to all. Senator Manchin promised to continue conversations in the days ahead and to work with us to reach that common ground. If his comments on Fox and written statement indicate an end to that effort, they represent a sudden and inexplicable reversal in his position and a breach of his commitments to the president and the senator's colleagues in the House and Senate. Senator Manchin claims that this change of position is related to inflation, but the think tank he often cites on Build Back Better, the Penn Wharton Budget Institute, issued a report less than 48 hours ago that noted the Build Back Better Act will have virtually no impact on inflation in the short term, and in the long run, the policies it includes will ease inflationary pressures. Many leading economists with whom Senator Manchin frequently consults also supports Build Back Better. Build Back Better lowers costs that families pay. It will reduce what families pay for childcare. It will reduce what they pay for prescription drugs. It will lower healthcare premiums. And it puts a tax cut in the pockets of families with kids. If someone is concerned about the impact that higher prices are having on families, this bill gives them a break. Senator Manchin cited deficit concerns in his statement, but the plan is fully paid for, is the most fiscally responsible major bill that Congress has considered in years, and reduces the deficit in the long run. The Congressional Budget Office report that the senator cites analyzed an unfunded extension of Build Back Better. That's not what the president has proposed, not the bills the Senate would vote on, and not what the president would support. Senator Manchin knows that. The president has told him repeatedly, including this week, face-to-face. Likewise, Senator Manchin's statement about the climate provisions in the Build Back Better are wrong. Build Back Better will produce a job-creating clean energy future for this country, including West Virginia. Just as Senator Manchin reversed his position on Build Back Better this morning, we will continue to press him to see if he will reverse his position yet again, to honor his prior commitments and be true to his word. In the meantime, Senator Manchin will have to explain to those families paying $1,000 a month for insulin why they need to keep paying that instead of $35 for that vital medicine. He will have to explain to nearly 2 million women who would get the affordable daycare they need to return to work why he opposes a plan to get them the help they need. Maybe Senator Manchin can explain to the millions of children who have been lifted out of poverty in part due to the child tax credit why he wants to end a program that is helping achieve this milestone we cannot. We are proud of what we have gotten done in 2021, the American Rescue Plan, the fastest decrease in unemployment in U.S. history, the bipartisan infrastructure law, over 200 million Americans vaccinated, schools reopened, the fastest rollout of vaccines to children anywhere in the world, and historic appointments to the federal judiciary. But we will not relent in the fight to help Americans with their childcare, healthcare, prescription drug costs, and elder care, and to combat climate change. The fight for Build Back Better is too important to give up. We will find a way to move forward next year. His Democratic colleagues were also fuming over Manchin's decision to not back the Build Back Better bill.
We all knew that Senator Manchin couldn't be trusted The excuses that he just made, I think are a complete bull.
Having those coupled together was the only leverage we had. And what did the caucus do? We tossed it.
If that is the case, then I hope that we will bring a strong bill to the floor of the Senate as soon as we can and let Mr. Manchin explain to the people of West Virginia why he doesn't have the guts to stand up to powerful special interests.
On the other side of the aisle, Republicans have been praising Joe Manchin for standing up to his Democratic colleagues.
Yeah, Trey, when both you and I served together in the House, it was a common maxim that you usually didn't insult someone into voting for your legislation, and it sounds like the far left has forgotten that maxim today. Joe Manchin has said for months exactly what he said today. He's almost been like the "Can you hear me now" guy in those cell phone commercials. At a time when we have almost $30 trillion in debt, this bill would add $5 trillion to it. We have the worst inflation in 40 years. This bill would add fuel to the fire of inflation. It would grant amnesty to illegal aliens. It would devastate the energy economy, which Joe Manchin states depend on so heavily. And the far left simply refuse to accept these facts. And I'd say that Joe Manchin has helped deliver an early Christmas present to the American people by saying that this drive for a reckless $5 trillion tax and spending bill is done today.
In a Dear Colleagues letter, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer made clear that he would be bringing the Build Back Better bill to the floor, regardless of Manchin's support, at some point early next year. So, with Manchin or without Manchin, Schumer is going to force his hand and force Manchin to go down on record where he stands on the bill. Of course, it's hard seeing Manchin really caring all that much, considering he's elected by the state of West Virginia, one of the reddest states in the country, and a state that also has an extremely low approval rating of President Joe Biden. So really, voting in favor of the Build Back Better bill would make it less likely for him to be re-elected in West Virginia, whereas voting against it would actually make him more likely to be re-elected. So where do we go from here? Where do we go now that Manchin is a no on the current bill? Well, it looks like they're either going to have to tremendously reduce the size of the overall package and pass the bill that way, or perhaps just end up passing nothing at all. It's not really that clear at this time anyways what a sized down bill would look like. Perhaps they would just include an extension of the child tax credit for 10 more years and get rid of many of the climate change measures. Much of the negotiation would still need to take place, but also you have to wonder if the bill does get significantly reduced, will progressive Democrats then vote against the bill? Either way, as usual, we can definitely expect a lot of drama to unfold in Washington over the next few months. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did make it all the way to the end, I definitely appreciate your support. And if you did enjoy the content in today's video, I would definitely appreciate if you would give this video a like, a big thumbs up. That does definitely help out with the YouTube algorithm. And until next time, as always, I'll see you in the next video.